Hey guys, it's Al with techmadeezy, and check this out. This is the brand new EcoFlow Delta Air. Now I'm shortening the name, to be honest with you. It's actually called the Delta 3 1000 Air, and this is supposed to be one of their most affordable power stations, yet still has some decent capacity, and it's very simple. It is very simple. Comes with a nice warranty, actually has a nice handle on top, and a very simple design, as you can see. Now in this video, we're actually doing an unboxing, a close look. We're doing testing. We're even going to be doing our refrigerator test, which is nice. So why don't we go ahead and check this out? Let's go ahead and get this party started. All right, guys, so here's what we're covering in this video. We're going to do a super quick unboxing. We're going to take a detailed close look. We're also going to go over detailed specs and pricing and some special pricing for a limited time. Then we're going to do testing and our world famous refrigerator test. Let's go ahead and check this out. Why don't we get this unboxed? And there you go. So we get this uniquely shaped power station. You know, never seen one shaped like this from EcoFlow. Although I must say some of the earlier power stations had some unique shapes also. And you get a quick start guide to jump in. And you also get a user manual online. So just be aware you would go to the EcoFlow website and go to support. What else do we get with this power station? It looks like we just get the AC cord. It's actually a really thick AC cord. And you don't get a solar cable or a car charger. Now, I think the goal there is to keep the price of this power station as low as possible so people can use these in their home for many different things. So why don't we go ahead and check this out? It's about that time. We're going to go ahead and take our close look. Now, before we take the close look, I want to tell you we're going to go over detailed specs after. We have testing, solar testing. We actually powered our refrigerator with this, so you'll be interested to see how long it lasted. All right. And I also want to say we're going to have some special pricing. It is December 2025. So we're going to have pricing and some links down below. All right, if you use our links, you help our channel at no additional cost to you. But let's jump in and take a look. So we have 3 ports on here. Well, let's just say 4 for now. We've got a USB-A port and a USB-C port. So let's zoom in and look at those. All right, so USB-A, and we'll go over that in specs. USB-C, your power button, by the way, that'll turn the unit on. And it turns on, you know, your USB ports. You've got one AC outlet down here. Now that means that you can actually, you know, use that outlet. You can plug in a surge protector, but we'll go over obviously what that's going to handle in a little while. Let me zoom back out, adjust the camera. And the other thing I want to point out is this actually has a voltage indicator. Low voltage, normal, and high. Low is going to be yellow, green is going to be normal, and high is going to be red. All right, so they actually put that on the front of the power station. I don't really think you need it, you know, at the end of the day, but they wanted to add that to the power station. Now, if we look to this side, we have an XT60i port. All right. We've got some ventilation here on the sides, and then there's where we plug in the AC cable. When we look at this side, again, ventilation, really nice. Nothing in the back. You've actually got a really nice handle. Let me take this camera off for a second. Got a nice handle, so plenty of room. You can lift this power station up. So I like that. Looking at the bottom of the power station, you've got 4 pieces of rubber to protect whatever you're going to put this on. Your serial number will be here. You'll also have some spec information as well. So that's the bottom. I did want to show you the top also. They did put a little design here. You could see, again, there's your handle, and there's the EcoFlow logo. So we're going to go ahead and test this coffee maker. I don't think it's going to work. 99.9% it probably won't. But I wanted to show you what doesn't work with this power station, just a little bit. This is a 500 watt power station. Most coffee makers use 1,000 to 1,500 watts just for a few seconds. But if you don't have a power station that can do that, you know, but let's go ahead and turn this on. And then what I'll do is I'll turn on the AC outlet. I'll turn on the coffee maker, open and close, and see if we can make a cup of techmadeezy coffee. Now I'm going to hit 8. In the back, we're going to watch the screen and see what happens. Ready? I just hit the button, and nope, it overloaded immediately. So, no good there. The next question is, would this work with a microwave? And I'm not even going to try, because it won't. This microwave is almost 2,000 watts when it surges, and then it goes back down to like 1,100-1,200 watts. So you're not going to use this for a coffee maker or a microwave. But I thought I'd share that with you. Now this is a test that should work. A TV, internet, right? Your security cameras, a fan, all of this should work. So let's try this. So I'm sitting here, everything is now off. I had to unplug it and plug it into here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn on the AC outlet and really watch everything turn on. And then I might have to turn on the fan that's right beside me. So I might have to turn that on. But let's hit the power button and just watch the startup wattage. See some things coming on. 106 watts, 108. TV's coming on, 155. See over here, the little Roku. 155, 156. I'm getting ready to turn the fan on. All right, so we're 148. TV should settle. It'll turn off and turn back on. It's just what that Roku does. Okay, so we are on. We've got our TV on. We've got TV lights in the back. Our internet is coming back on and everything. Our Roku, our security cameras. We have mesh Wi-Fi. So we're running 153 watts. And now let's turn the fan on. All right, give me a minute on that one. There it goes. So it's on level 3. So let's see, 159. All right, so it's on 162, so it's on level 3. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and just kick up the fan, and hopefully I'll still be able to hear myself. So here's the highest level of the fan, 170, 172, 173, 174. So look at that. I mean, this is a 500 watt power station. It is running a TV, it is running a Roku, our modem, our mesh Wi-Fi, our security cameras, and TV lights in the back of the TV, and also this fan. We've got a Drio fan we did a review on. So as you can see, it's real easy with stuff like this. It doesn't use a lot of power. Now a coffee maker, you know, if you saw that before, a coffee maker uses a lot of power. One thing I want to show you too, it says it will run this load for 5 hours, 95% battery, not a big battery, okay, but it'll run it for 5 hours. If you just needed your TV, it would run it longer. You know, again, if you saw the refrigerator test, that was pretty awesome. You know, so laptops, phones, tablets, no issues, right? But when you saw the coffee maker, did you see that? If you didn't see that, check out the coffee maker test. And you'll see, you know, coffee makers use a lot of power. So can be very, very helpful. All right, we're in the kitchen. That is Sunshine, by the way. She's getting so big. Anyway, there it goes, huh? The Air. Everyone seems to be using the word Air, right? You got the iPhone Air, and now you've got the Delta 3 1000 Air. As you can see, we've got a full-size refrigerator. This is really efficient also. So just be aware if you have an old refrigerator. But we're going to see how long we can run this refrigerator. Now we're starting this test in the evening. We want to run it overnight, and then we want to also see what happens during the day tomorrow. Now, I'll put the specs up for the refrigerator on the right side real quick so you could see that. All right, so you could see some of the information on the refrigerator when we bought it and kind of some power usage. All right, now let me turn this on for a minute. All right, you'll see we have 100% battery first of all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the AC outlet remotely. I'm going to use the EcoFlow app. Just give me a minute, and I do have a cold, so bear with me. My phone is turning on. Just waiting for it to load. There it goes. I've got an AC button. I can click here to turn it on. 8:23 p.m. on Saturday. I'm going to wait for it to say 8:24, and then I'll turn on power. So it should say 8:24 any second. And then I'm going to come over to the power station, and we're going to see what we use to kick the refrigerator on. Because, by the way, right now it is off. But that's going to say 8:24 any second. All right, we're waiting any second, 8:24. All right, 8:24. I turned on the AC outlet remotely. Let's watch the screen. And I see 160, 175 watts. Did you see that? So initially, it used 175 watts to turn on the refrigerator. Now, as you can see, it's showing 0. Now, why is that? Well, that's because this refrigerator has been on. It was only temporarily turned off. 8:24 p.m. Saturday night, 100%. We're going to check in the morning when we get up. All right. So we'll be back. Now, some important settings when you're doing something like this where a refrigerator is hardly using any wattage, right? Is we want to go into settings. We want to go into auto timeout. Device timeout, we're going to put that to never. We don't want the device to timeout. AC timeout, again, never. It was set to 2 hours. That means in 2 hours it would have turned the power station off, but we're going to put that to never. And then LCD screen, we could do we'll leave it at 5 minutes for now. So we've got device, never, LCD screen, 5 minutes, and AC, never. I'm going to go back in, make sure it took the settings. Very good. All right. No firmware updates. I haven't seen any yet. We always check that. And I'm turning X-Boost off. You don't need X-Boost for a refrigerator. I would recommend keeping that off also, unless you're using the right device. But 100%. 8:24 is when we started this test. I guess we'll see what happens. 10:21 p.m. I just want to take a peek. We got 64 watts going out. We've got 87%. So we've got some wattage going out now. I can hear the fan. We'll also have a sound test in this video. Running like this, it says it'll last 8 hours, but that'll go away in a little while. That won't run all night. So I think we'll make it to the morning with no problem, but 64 watts Now 86%. All right, good morning. We are 6 hours and 20 minutes in. It's 2:44 in the morning. Yeah, I was up, so I said let me come down and take a look. Let's see what we're using though. All right, so we have 57% left. We're using 48 watts, 47, 48 watts. So again, there you go. All right, we'll see what it is later on when we wake up. Let's do a noise level test. So just a few minutes later, it's a little bit quieter. As you can see, it's showing we're not using much wattage. So it says we'll run 28 hours, which is not correct because this is going to show you 60 something watts, 40 something watts. Now, when the compressor on the refrigerator kicks on, I've seen as high as about 200 visually. I've seen as high as about 200. But again, you know, it's 2:52 in the morning. And, you know, we'll see what this looks like when we wake up. All right, good morning. It is 11 hours and 20 minutes. We have 26% left on the battery. All right, 26% left, 1 watt going out. There you go, 11 hours and 20 minutes. Oh, it's rough. I didn't get all good sleep, but that's what I do to do these tests. All right, we are 12 hours and 20 minutes, and we've got 19% now, 12 hours, 20 minutes, and we're using 1 watt, 19% left on the battery. 13 hours and 20 minutes, and what do we have? 13% battery, using 1 watt right now with the fan on as well. That's what the fan is with the spinning there. So look at that, 13 hours and 20 minutes, and we still have 13% battery. So we're cutting it close. I'm just going to check this now. It's 10:37 in the morning. We've got 7% with 58 watts being used. 7% and 57, 58 watts being used. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think we'll hit 11 o'clock. I'm not sure. We might. I'll check back. So we should be 14 hours and 40 minutes right now, based off that time. Now, I also want to make sure you realize that you can check where you're at on the app. So as you can see, it's showing 5%. So we are 5% right now. All right, at 14 hours and 41 minutes. Now, it's not bad. So we have got 5% left. We'll see how much longer this goes. Don't forget, you can use the app. I'm defrosting a bagel. I'm going to have a nice toasted bagel with cream cheese. And we'll check back in a moment. What? We are 15 hours and 20 minutes into this test. I'll tell you. We have 3% battery left and 65 watts going out. Wow, 15 hours and 20 minutes in. It's a nice little power station to have. First time I'm seeing like 80 something watts. Look, 85 watts. Oh, wow. We're almost to the final stretch, though. Guys, this is coming down. I just saw 1%. I've got 89 watts going out. So it says it'll last maybe 5 more minutes, assuming that the watt stays the same. I'm still very impressed, and hopefully you've been following along, because when this is done, are you going to know how long this lasted with the refrigerator? But, all right. I'll keep an eye, but it's going to be any second now that this is going to turn off. This thing's got to turn off at some point. Wow, I am impressed. And I am also eating my toasted bagel with cream cheese. This is delicious. It's probably not the best thing for you, but it's not the worst thing for you. Coming from New York, this is something, plus some pizza, of course. Ooh, screen turned off. Okay. Oof, I thought it turned off. All right, any second now. So to help you calculate how long this is running, all right, because I'm going to leave that up to you. We started yesterday at 8:24 p.m. Right now it's 12 p.m. the next day. So again, we started this Saturday, 8:24 p.m. It is now Sunday at 12 p.m. And this is about to turn off. So how long has this been running? We have been going over this the last hour or so you can rewind and look at the timestamps, but this is very impressive. We're almost done, and again, don't forget you can use the app, so you don't have to be sitting in front of a power station, so it actually can tell you what your battery percentage is and honestly how much wattage you have going out. And it's funny, that's the Delta 1000 Air, and this is the iPhone Air. I did a video on this. I'll put an image up on the screen, and I'll put a link in the video description. But yeah, it's super thin. I've got a case on it, of course. Oh, there it goes. 12:02 p.m. 0%. So, if we started this yesterday at 8:24 p.m., and it is now Sunday, the next day at 12:02 p.m., how long did it last? I'm impressed. Now, one feature you must get if you buy a power station, if it's not this one, is pass-through charging. And what that means is while I'm charging this power station, I can still actually power devices. So I can be charging this with an AC cable like I am now. I can be charging it with solar. But if I'm doing that, I can still actually power devices like this, or even a refrigerator like we did a little while ago. So let's go ahead and turn the AC on, and you're going to see that while it's charging, it'll also discharge. And that is what you call pass-through charging. So as you can see, our input is rising to make up the difference, and our output for the battery on this charger. So we are using pass-through charging right now, and it is a must-have feature. So we just finished the refrigerator test. I'm going to let this cool down. It has been running a long time, so I'm going to let it cool down, and then we're going to see how long it takes to charge from 0% to 100%. 12:20 p.m. I'm going to slide the cable in. We're going to see how long this takes to charge. It should kick on in a moment, showing it's receiving power. It's 0%. 12:20. Let's see how many watts go in. It should be 500 watts, but it'll do it slowly. We did let it rest. We just finished the refrigerator test. Really nice results. If you want to see that, go back. But it's going up. We've got 112, 118. So now that it's a little rested, that wattage will start off low and then it'll go up to 500 watts. Let's say 12:21. Let's go ahead and see how long this takes. Now, while we're AC charging, I want to give you a tip. And this is a tip using the EcoFlow app. So let's say your apartment, your home, your cabin, your RV can't support 500 watts, right? When you plug this into your outlet, let's say your outlet just is not going to handle it. Well, the good news is you can go in the app. What we're going to do is we're going to go to settings in the upper right hand corner, that little right there. And then you're going to see down here AC charging speed where my finger is. Click on that. And you can adjust this. You can bring this down and say, you know what, 150 watts, whatever it is. And that will actually, again, really be helpful for you if you do have AC outlets that can't handle this full 500 watts. So I hope that tip helped you. 30-minute check, a 30-minute check, and we are at 17% with 497 watts going into the power station. 17%, 30-minute check. 1 hour check. 1 hour check, and we're 36%, 499 watts going in. So in 1 hour, all right, 36%. All right, we got a 2 hour check. 2 hours, and we're at 74% with 501 watts going into the power station. So 2 hours, 74%. 2.5 hours, 94%, 500 watts going in. So it says it'll be about 10 minutes more. 94%, 2.5 hours. I just heard this turn off, so we're 100% at 311. So it's almost 3 hours. It's like 2 hours and 50 minutes to charge from zero. All right, pretty nice. We're going to do a solar test. Now this is the EcoFlow 220 watt bifacial solar panel. Now this is actually redesigned, so they actually added some kickstands. I'm going to take this out, and then we're going to talk about solar specs. Very important. You don't want to go out and buy a solar panel because it can damage your power station. We'll talk more about that. So we took the panel out and we set it up. It's right over there. So here's the bag. Now, normally you would need one of these. Now with the solar panel we're using, we don't need this. I'll show you why in a moment. Normally, I would recommend this solar angle guide. You just lay this on your panel or clip it in place. And what you want to do is get that little, this little dot will create a shadow. It'll tell you you've got really the right angle, to get the best, sun out of your panel and power. You definitely need one of these. Your power station doesn't come with it. And your solar panel probably won't either. So just be aware, this is the solar cable. And this is the XT60i. Let's say you have a power outage, right? Well, you could plug your refrigerator into that if your refrigerator is very efficient like ours. So make sure you see our refrigerator test. We have a full-size refrigerator, and we were able to power it for a ton of hours. So check that out in our video. But let's say our power went out. We don't want our food to go bad, right? We can connect our refrigerator to that. We can connect this to solar. I can get a longer cable because this is short, and I can charge via solar during the morning and the day if I have good sun, while I am powering my refrigerator so my food doesn't go bad. So again, your solar cable, your solar disconnector, which is really good to have, and this is a solar angle guide. Now again, we don't need this because you're going to see in a moment that that panel has one built in, which is really nice. And that panel also doesn't need this. I'll show you why in a minute. So let's put up the power station solar specs first. All right, there they go in the upper left-hand corner. Now, I want you to see, obviously, that it can handle the 500 watts of solar. But, we're connecting one panel, and we want to stay in line with more of the voltage than the amperage. The voltage will make, you can't go over on the voltage in this scenario. So there's the power station solar specs. And now here is the 220 watt solar panel specs. Now you see how the solar panel is right within the power station solar specs? That's really important. Again, links will be in the description for all of this, but I wanted to show you that and talk about it and make sure you understand it. Let's do a quick solar test. That's all we're doing. We're not going to look for maximum solar. It is December 1st. It's cold, but we do have some sun, as I can show you real quick. So there's our panel. I'm going to take this off the holder real quick. It's got 4 panels and 3 kickstands. And this is the latest in EcoFlow's 220 watt solar panels. Now they make one that's not bifacial. It costs a little less. And then this is the bifacial one. Again, bifacial just means that this panel can take solar from the front. It can also from the back. It's just basically because of the way it's designed. You see that there? And by the way, really good look at the new kickstands. All right, so you do have various straps that stretch, adjustable kickstands. You don't want this to slam against the back of this. That is actually glass, to my knowledge. But we have got 3 kickstands. One, all right, and then we've got the second one here, and the third one, and then of course we've got our solar connectors there. All right, and then again, we'll take a look at this, but that's your solar angle guide built in. Pretty darn cool. Connecting your solar cable to your solar panel is really easy. You can't make a mistake, okay? We're just using one panel in this scenario. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the male to the female, and again the male to the female. Make sure that they're nice and tight. And then all we're going to do right now is we're going to plug this in and wait a moment to see if this wakes up from getting some solar charge. So we're going to plug that in, and because we have a good angle, let's take a look when it wakes up. It should, there it goes, it's waking up. All right, and we are getting 93 watts right off the bat. All right, cold day, a little cloudy, and you know, this is obviously not the best case scenario, but again, this is just a solar test we're doing. So as you can see, with 97 watts coming in, it says we're at 57%. It'll take us 5 hours to finish charging, right? 5 hours to charge, 57%, 99 watts. Now, the panel is warming up also, right? The panel was like cold. It was sitting in a bag. It is kind of stiff. But 5 hours to charge to 100%, getting that 98 watts. So that works. It's real simple. And like I said earlier, you just want to make sure that you're not buying any solar panel and connecting it to this, because you can actually burn out the solar controller in here. And you don't want to do that. So that's good. So I disconnected the solar cable from the power station. And the way this specific solar panel is designed is you don't need to actually have a solar disconnector tool like I showed you earlier. So all you're going to do is squeeze these and it disconnects, which is nice. And both of them, by the way, check that out. Again, there you go. We just squeeze these and we disconnect and we're ready to go. Now don't forget, we had a nice bag to put our solar panel in. You just fold it up. That's all you do. You fold it up nice and gently. Don't mind Sunshine's hair. When you have a yellow lab, I'm sorry, there's really no way to not have hair unless you have like a full-time maid. And honestly, I don't have that kind of money. But, you know, all I do now is take these cables and just fold them in. And it can sit on the panel. It's fine. The bag is a really nice bag. You know, the bag in the past used to actually be used as a kickstand if you've been following EcoFlow, but you know, that didn't work so well. It was a nice idea initially, but now we just zipper it up, and you could see, by the way, that's a really nice zipper, and then you get a nice handle. And you're ready to go. You take that up and put it somewhere. Time to do some power tests. Let's turn the unit on. The AC outlet is off. You'll see we have 100% charge. And I did put an outlet that has more plugs on it, since that only has one. Now, this is an Ego 320 watt charger. Doesn't always use 320 watts, but that's going to be our first test. I'm going to take a battery, put it on top, and let's turn on the AC outlet, see what we get. $58, $88, $109, $139, $164, $196, $244, $271, $290. So it looks like we're hanging out about 283 watts. Now, this isn't going to be an issue, right? So why don't we take a second charger? Now, I don't know if it's going to work. Again, 500 watts, right? I'm going to take a second charger, plug it in here. Just for a minute, push this back. We can get the second charger in the frame. Let's see if we can tilt that camera down. Take a second battery, see what happens. All right, 317, 338, 366, 426, 463, 514, 533, 555, 562. So it's holding. Again, this is a 500 watt power station. X boost is not on. And we are holding 563 watts, give or take. It looks like it goes up from 554 to 563. That is impressive. Oop, all right. Overload. So we've got a little overload symbol. All right, that happened, but it held it for a little while. All right, so obviously we held it on that last test pretty darn good. But yeah, I mean, overload, right? Now this is a 550 watt charger. Again, it doesn't really seem to use 550 watts. So we're going to take a battery and put it on there. And the AC outlet is off right now. Whenever you have an overload, it actually does that. So let's turn it on and see what we can do. $34, $95, $157, $218, $300, $334, $347, $372. So no issue here. Seems to only be using about 370 something watts. Interesting. Very similar to the previous charger. Okay. I'm waiting a moment just to see if we get any more. But 371 looks like the high. All right, let's keep trying. Now that's an Ego dual charger. All right, we're going to go ahead and put one battery on one side and see, and I'm just going to turn, okay, AC's off. So I'm going to put this battery on this side for now. We'll start off with one battery and then we'll put the second one on. Let's see what happens. $53, $101, $146, $204, $222, $234, $245, $249. Interesting. So if we put another battery on this, we should be able to hit that 500 watt. Now, let's try it. I'm going to go ahead and take this second battery now and do that. And now let's see. 262, 316, 368, 419, 452, 471, 481, 484, and it looks like it's hanging there, about 485 with no issues. You know, it's definitely doing what it's made to do, right? Now I have a 700 watt charger, but again, I don't think it's going to work. So far I'm happy. I think it's doing its job. Let's go ahead and try the 700 watt charger. It's probably going to overload, but look at that, 488, no problem, 492. So it's doing what it says it's supposed to do. 700 watt right there. That's a 700 watt smart charger. I'll go ahead and put this battery on. And now let's turn on AC. $20, 77, 141, 206, 277, 343, 407, 465, 533, 569, 598, 602, 618, 612, 621. It's going to overload, but it's actually holding pretty well for that short period of time. That really helps with surges and stuff. But yeah, we got an overload. All right. This is what it sounds like when it's charging. I'll go ahead and bring up a dB level meter real quick. And this is what the sound is like when it's not charging. Okay, this is something that I include in every one of my power station videos moving forward. It's called Know Before You Buy. And my goal with this is that you don't go out and buy something that is not going to work for you. All right? I don't want you spending the money. I don't want you to have the headache. And I can tell you how this started. I had a friend that bought a power station, and it was a small one. And because it was a power station, I believe she assumed it would power her coffee maker. And so she was extremely disappointed. And after talking with her, I tried to explain it's more about knowledge and understanding. And so that's why I put together Know Before You Buy, because I want you to think about a few things that I'm going to go over in this section. So let me get started with number one. Number one is, what do you want to power? You have to just stop for a minute and say, you know what am I using this for? Is it for a camping trip? Is it for a road trip? Am I buying this in the case of an emergency if my power goes out? Am I taking this to a cabin that we go to every once in a while? Right? So what do you want to power? Refrigerators, TVs, phones, you may be the internet, a laptop, LED lights. So take a moment, write that down. What do you want to power? Number two, do you know how much power your appliances and device require? You probably don't. Most people don't. I learned so much in the last couple of years, and I still don't know everything. So I'm going to be showing you an accessory towards the end of this video that I highly recommend you get, because it's going to help you, determine how much power your laptop uses, your TV uses, your phone uses. But let's stick to this page here. So number two, how much power? So you need to know that, okay? And the other thing is, some of these devices have startup wattage, surge wattage. If you're going to be powering a refrigerator uses wattage, but then it has a compressor that kicks on to make the refrigerator cold, and that can use hundreds of watts, especially older type refrigerators. Let's look at some examples real quick on the bottom. LED lights can use 5, maybe 10 watts. Those are the newer LED lights, right? Laptops can use 100. They could use more. It just depends on how old it is. Is it a gaming laptop, TVs can vary. New TVs use 100 to 200 watts, those thin TVs. But if you have a larger one, it could use 300 watts. If you have an older one, well, those can use like 400 watts. And what about a CPAP, right? You know, if you have to sleep overnight and you have to use a CPAP, well, those can vary from 50 to 150 watts, probably more, probably less. Let's take a look at the next section. So here's part 3. How long, right? How long will you need to power the appliances or devices? Now, again, let's just say it's for an emergency, right? Maybe your power goes out once a year for like 8 to 12 hours. Let's use that as an example, all right? But you have to know, or at least have an idea before you make a purchase, because how long really connects with the battery size of the power stations. So let's look at the next slide. So let's put it all together, right? Number 1, what do you want to power? What devices or appliances? Have a list of that. Number 2, how much power do the appliances and devices require? Now, the tool or accessory I'm going to show you coming up is going to help you do that. And number 3, how long will you need to power them, right? Number 3, again, pertains to the size of the battery, right? But number 1, you know, and number 2 really pertains to the power of the unit, because each of these power stations have different power ratings. So here's an accessory that I'm going to recommend. And the brand, don't worry about the brand, because sometimes this brand's not available. I'll make sure links are in the description. But this device here, and I'm going to demo it in a moment so you can see it. I'm going to show it to you. It's real simple. But if you're new to it, you know, it's intimidating, right? So this sells for around $25, and you can connect devices and appliances up to 1,875 watts. So just be aware, or 15 amps. Now, again, I don't expect you to know that, but I have to tell you that because if you plug in, let's say, a 3,000 watt like toaster oven, it's not going to work on this, okay? But let me demo it for you. But what this will do is it will help you understand the wattage that your devices and appliances use. So let's check out the demo. So we're going to do a simple demo, you know, so you know what this device is about. Again, it doesn't cost much, first of all, right? I think it's around $25. And depending on the brand that's available, we'll put a link in the description. But just realize also that you can't plug everything into this. I believe there's like an 1,800 watt limit and a certain amount of amps. Now, I know that's complicated, but if you want to know how many watts your light is using, how many watts your refrigerator is using, how many watts your laptop uses, your phone, this is perfect for it, okay? So this is plugged into my outlet, as you can see on the wall, and now I've got this light plugged in here. So all I need to do now is turn on the light, and let's see how many watts it uses. Now, again, it is on the watt screen, and this does do more than watts, so just be aware, okay? You can actually figure out kilowatts, which is how your electric company bills you, but I don't want to get that complicated. So let me turn the light on. And look at that, we're using 6.3 watts on the LED light. That's really good, right? And again, plug in your laptop, plug in your phone. Again, you'll learn more about the wattage that your appliances use, even your coffee maker. But if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And we're going to continue on with the review. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to do with this power station is plug it in, charge it up, connect it to the app, and also see if there are some firmware updates. Definitely recommend that. So we're going to plug this in now so we can charge it up. So let's just see if we've plugged that in now. And all right, so it is already showing that it's going to start to charge. It turned on its own. I didn't have to hit the button. So it comes in at 30% in the box. That makes sense. They don't really leave these at 100%. This is a lithium iron phosphate battery. really amazing. We're going to cover specs later on in the video, but we're going to use this and learn a little bit more about it. So it's receiving 500 watts, and it says it'll take 2 hours to charge. So we're going to connect this to the app and do the firmware update. Now, if you've got the EcoFlow app installed and you're already registered, then what's going to happen for me will happen for you. If not, you download the app. It looks just like that. It says EF, and you create your account. And then after you do that, you'll get a similar experience. So I'm going to open up the app, and it should notice this power station is nearby. Look at that. So it discovered it very quickly, and I can hit add. Let me do that real quick. It is now connecting to the network. It's connecting via Wi-Fi, and then we'll figure out what happens as far as a firmware update. So look, see the check marks. Hit done, and then let me add it to my home space. I went into the device settings and I actually changed the name, but that's what my screen's going to look like. Now what I'm going to do now is I am actually going to just go and click on settings, and I want to go down to see if there's a firmware update. Sorry about the glare. So here's firmware update. If I click on that, so right now it says there's no firmware update, and that can be true. There'll be a little, like, I think a red light here or something that'll actually show you that. Now it might take a little while to come through because we just connected all of this. So I would check back later, but right now it says that the firmware is updated. I can now control it from here. I can see what's going on. I can turn on ports, you know, like USB or AC. So really nice to have. I'm going to finish charging this, and then we're going to check out more. Let's go ahead and jump in and give you some information. So this is the Delta 3 1000 Air. MSRP is $499. Now don't forget, we're going to get some special pricing. It's early December 2025. We'll put links down below. If you use our links, you help our channel at no additional cost to you, and you can get a little discount for a short period of time. So let's talk power. This is a 500 watt power station that can surge to 1,000 watts for a very short period of time. They don't mention how long, but I believe it's about a second or two, so just be aware. Now this also supports X boost, and that can go up to 800 watts. Now I'm going to pull an image up on the screen real quick so you can see what X boost is about. I will also place that at the end of the video. This is also a pure sine wave power station. Very clean power, just like your home outlets in most cases. This also has pass-through charging. It is a must-have. If you're going to buy a power station, you want to know that you can actually charge it, and you can also power your devices. So you can plug this into solar and power your devices. You can plug this into the AC outlet and charge it and power your devices. Very important feature. See our testing, and we'll show you what that looks like. Now, this has a UPS feature, by the way, and they say that the UPS feature is within 10 milliseconds. So that can be really helpful if you have a computer or something that needs to always be powered. You could use this as a UPS, which stands for uninterrupted power supply. Battery capacity on this is 960 watt hours. This is a lithium iron phosphate battery, by the way. Now, for the first time, EcoFlow is not disclosing the battery cycles. I don't know why, and maybe they'll change their mind about that, but they aren't doing that. Now, as far as battery support, extra battery, I should say, this does not support an extra battery. Again, this is really a affordable, simple power station for folks that maybe are just jumping on board and want something just in case their power goes out. See our refrigerator test. That would be a great example on why you would want one of these. Now, as far as storage and maintenance, I'm going to pull up some information so you can actually see what they recommend concerning storage and battery maintenance. And it's important you follow these, because if you don't, you could void your warranty. So take a look at that for a minute. Now, concerning connectivity, this has Bluetooth 5.0, and it also supports Wi-Fi 6, but keep in mind, only 2.4 gigahertz. This will not support 5 gigahertz. Don't know why. I wish it really supported both, but, just want to make you aware of that. Now, as far as the AC outlet is concerned, there's one, 500 watts. It can support a surge of 1,000 watts for a very short period of time, and I mean seconds. This also has that X-Boost feature we talked about. I showed you a slide before, and I'll put some information on X-Boost towards the end of the video. The USB-A port supports 12 watts. It is 5 volt, 2.4 amp. The USB-C port supports 18 watts. Now, concerning input, this has one XT60i port that supports 500 watts max for solar, 12 to 60 volt, 15 amp. Make sure you see our solar test. All right, we'll show you how to connect this via solar and some things you need to know. AC supports 500 watts of AC charging. So when you're going to charge this, it can support up to 500 watts. Now, there is a tip in the video when you watch the AC charging portion that'll show you that you can lower that. So let's say you have AC outlets in your cabin or your home or your RV that can't support 500 watts. You could lower that down to 200 watts so that you can charge this nice and slow without worrying about any kind of, circuit tripping or anything like that. Also be aware this does not come with a solar cable. It doesn't come with a car charging cable. I will put links down below if you're going to need some of that. I'm also going to put some other must-have accessories. A couple of accessories I recommend. Concerning operating and storage temperature information, here is some information that could be helpful right there on the left side of the screen. Operating altitude, 9,842 feet. So depending on where you live, some people live in very high altitude areas. Something like this won't work above 9,842, and I honestly have never experienced that. Concerning the BMS and the types of protection, you're going to see that listed on the left side of the screen. Dimensions are right there on the left side of the screen. This also has an IP rating, which is really interesting. It's IP30, so it's not protected against any liquid, but they say it's protected from tools and wires. I don't even know why you would put an IP rating on this at that point. Now, as far as weight's concerned, this is 21.8 pounds or 9.9 kilogram. And let me tell you, EcoFlow includes a 2-year warranty on this power station. So guys, what do I think about this power station? To me, EcoFlow probably came out with this because they wanted something with a larger battery, but at a lower cost, right? For me, I would have loved to see more USB ports, right? USB-A, USB-C especially, and, obviously another AC outlet, but you can always connect a surge protector there. But I think what they wanted to do is really keep the cost down, right? And I know the MSRP is $499, but you're going to see the sale price on this, and using our code, since it's early December 2025, that code will be available in the video description. And then after that, it won't work. But it's not bad, it's an interesting shape. You can charge it via solar. It did do well in our refrigerator test. Please check that out. Solar worked very well, no issues whatsoever. Really simple. So, what do you think? Tell us in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching our video. I sure hope you found it helpful. And if you did, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and put our social media up on top if you want to follow us, and you'll be able to subscribe to our channel by clicking this round Tech Made Easy logo. Guys, thank you so much and have a wonderful day.